This is EA Sports Madden NFL 25. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is the latest entry in the obviously long-running football simulation franchise from EA. We cover it every single year, and it's exciting to jump in again and take a look at the changes, improvements, and adjustments, with this year largely being some big fidelity choices, graphical options, and a little bit of an overall of the experience, because we're coming hot off the heels of the return of NCAA in the form of EA Sports College Football, and that game itself actually had some interesting visual adjustments, and with Madden being like the lead franchise, it makes a lot of sense that we are seeing those kind of mirrored and adjusted within this version of the game, right? So now we can have basically football twice a year, I guess, around the same time, every year going forward, just like back in the day, which I'm sure is exciting for a number of, well, sports fans. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about the overall experience here. So they've made changes to the visuals, they've adjusted sort of franchise, they've adjusted your superstar career path, they've changed a little bit of how the way the game plays and presents itself. Lots of little finite details, just kind of a streamlined thing. There's some features that are for the current gen consoles only, and yeah, there's quite a lot going on here. Because if you played the previous few years of Madden, there was a certain point where they did bump up the visuals for the current gen, and then they've kind of like, to a degree, stagnated off of that for a while. We've had a very safe selection of graphical options, and this year they've changed that. So before there was two, there was favoring the, well, you could either favor the resolution or you could favor the performance. You got 120 FPS mode. So this year we now have three graphical options. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about what these have to offer for the game. So you go down to graphics, and we have favor performance, favor resolution, favor visuals. So for favoring the visuals, we have something that is pushing like a fuller 4K resolution. Everything's going to be like dynamic, right? Everything's dynamic scaling and resolution these days. And this one is targeting the 60 FPS. And then for your regular kind of modes, you're getting like 30 FPS cutscenes. Is kind of usually the concept in these ones, and they made some adjustments there too, so we'll dive in and talk about that. Yeah, so for the visuals, we're basically getting a 4K 60 FPS with global illuminated like ray tracing, or well, basically the fancier ray tracing lighting, as some people like to go with, which is what we saw with the college football experience, and I kind of theorized that we would get that sort of mode thrown into the game, and that it makes complete sense to me. So that in itself is kind of nice. Oh, a bad turnover. So I think that one looks pretty good. Oh, there's a penalty on the play. Anyways, we'll ignore that for now. So there we go. Favor visuals, 4K, 60 FPS, ray tracing, and cutscenes 30 FPS. And then we have favor resolution. So favor resolution is we are basically dropping the like ray tracing. We're going back to the traditional lighting, and it's dynamic 4K 60 FPS. So, cool. It works. I mean, I think visually it looks good. This is the Madden that you've been used to playing for like the last few years. I mean, you get all the, changes and adjustments to the gameplay, but this is basically that Madden that you are very much used to visually. And I think this is kind of your best of both worlds, just in terms of making sure that you are getting a high fidelity experience that looks sharp, that looks clean, and as fluid as you're playing the game. As you can see here, even the cutscenes are more fluid now, which is nice. And that's kind of a big improvement, because traditionally it's like Madden, they just cap the cutscenes at 30 FPS, which is like sort of a jarring kind of thing. I don't know if you've played previous Maddens and ever noticed that, but like that shift between basically smooth gameplay and then choppy. Well, it's not choppy, but like, you know what I mean. It's a big jarring change seeing that fluidity adjustment between cutscene moments, cinematics, and then regular gameplay. So it's kind of nice that that is an option here for the game. And wow, they are going to get a touchdown on us right away, which is not ideal. I don't like that in the slightest. And then finally, we're going to have the option to adjust the graphics to favor performance. So this is something where we're getting like 1440p, and it's like, see, traditionally in the past it's 120 FPS, and it seems like everything is kind of like basically uncapped, if that makes sense. So it is an interesting change up. Like it's quite fluid, and it's, you know, it's an interesting adjustment, but you can really tell that there is that resolution drop down. And then there's like kind of like some cutscenes seem to have really odd, like kind of occasional frame drops, which is weird. But yeah, everything here is just a smooth 60 FPS plus experience. That's the best way I could put it. HDR support across the experience, spatial sound support, you know, the usual kind of things. So yeah, we've got a pretty nice core offering when it comes to like the visuals, the graphics, and everything like that. I mean, I think this is a much better looking kind of version of the game in comparison to years past. I think they've done a great job on basically upgrading the visuals, and like I kind of knew something was coming down the road in the pipeline because of the release of, you know, college football. And if you're coming off of college football as I am, you're gonna have something that is very visually, I guess you would say, similar in that kind of vibe, where gameplay mechanics and visuals and everything like that, because the games are going to mirror each other, right? They're going to be built close to one another, and obviously college ball, different from football, like NFL football, and they have different atmospheres and different styles. So with the NFL, you're getting all of the flair and the rules and everything like that that you would expect for this particular game. So let's dive in and let's talk about some other adjustments. So they've redone the grass/turf. So essentially the grass and the turf has been, I guess, that was a really bad throw there. The grass and turf have been completely redone. So they're going, they're calling it like 3D turf grass, I guess, is what it's called. 3D grass or something. And I know that sounds probably a little silly, but like, I guess they've just completely redone the grass, and, you know, they've kind of gone for like more dimensional real blades of grass. It looks better. It does. Oh, I didn't mean to slide like that. It does look a lot better, I think, the grass in this game. So they did adjust that. They added the Gillette Stadium, and it's supposed to have all the little bells and the whistles. There's new arena audio samples, so they've added something like 500 plus immersion things like crunches and cheers and all kinds of new audio little things that you'll hear within the arenas. So that's kind of cool, like a stadiums and, you know, whatever, if you're going to give me, you know, complaints for that. They've also went a little bit further on the games, I guess you would say. So in the last year, they released a new kind of mode for hitting. So there was like the Sapien thing, which was a new technology for like new pads, like shoulder pads, and the way the bodies and everything worked. And this year they've kind of adjusted that and taken that a little further. So they have more advanced physics-based tackling changes this year around. So the idea is like bigger hits, stronger adjustments, and yeah, that's kind of the focus, is essentially making the hits feel crunchier, more dynamic. And they've also, with that, adjusted the stick, like a sort of a reloaded hit stick is the idea there. And yeah, that's kind of what you're feeling, is it's a little bit more the angling, the way you are positioned as like the player is positioned, the player you're going after is positioned. So there's more accuracy and setup for how you hit and where you hit your opponents when you're kind of, you know, going for hits and stuff, which is obviously a big part of the big part of the football experience, as you would imagine. So going on to game modes, got the usual stuff. Honestly, I spend most of my time when I'm playing the sports games playing Play Now. That's my jam. So they've got like sort of a quick setup thing where it's like, here's a match of the day or something. They've got like live match options. They've got, the usual, like quick play is quick play. You jump in, you change how long the quarters are, you change the weathering, you change the stadium. You go in, you compete, and you play. And again, if you've played previous years of Madden, the clipping stuff is back and everything like that, where players still, they clip through, and, it's better. Collision stuff is better for that sort of thing, but there's still, like, player clipping and cutscenes and all that. It's kind of funny. Anyways, new commentary team. Totally forgot to mention the new commentary team, so that's an adjustment here too, and I think that's going to be more of a personal choice for your interest in the commentators and that. To me it sounds fine, but I know everybody's got sort of preferences for commentators in their sports games, which is kind of fun. I know in the NHL one, I always get into big debates with people about that, but I take a stronger stance on the hockey games commentary and commentators, and I know some people are probably going to be pretty passionate about better or worse for commentary, and that's totally fair. And I've turned it down a little bit, commentary, so that it doesn't stick out as much when I'm talking and everything like that. Okay, so play now. We've got the franchise mode. So franchise, big adjustments. 70 dynamic storylines featuring actual places that you can kind of interact with and make choices through. So it's very like story-driven stuff. But you can be in like the coach's office or some place in the stadium or like the room, and so they're trying to work on. I want to say the realism of your story choices, but they're just trying to make it a little bit more. You've got to literally be kidding me. you have lit. Look at the grass. Looks so good. Sorry, I really like the grass. Looks really nice in this. You gotta be kidding me. So years ago, they started doing that story thing where it's kind of like you got a character and there's like a narrative, and then they kind of moved away from that a little bit, but still had it where it was a thing, and they keep trying to like sort of work on story stuff in the game, and yeah, so this is kind of a little bit more evolution adjustments on that. Impact contracts in different ways with your story choices. Basically big contract moments popping up. You want to be a part of that. The new NFL draft night. There's an in-depth team builder, so they've really gone quite far for allowing you to like upload stuff and make your own. Run, Barton, run away, run. Yeah. Anyways, so custom like logos, designs, customize the stadiums, the uniforms. You can have 32 team builder teams imported into franchise. There's deep new customization options for also athletes and coaches when you're playing the game, so you can like really tweak how the characters, or well, again, your athletes. I call them characters because they're characters you play in a video game, but you get what I'm saying, where you're basically getting all these new options to make your characters change a little bit. All your athletic individuals that you make you in the game, maybe, if that's something pretty common, I think. Just more in depth, basically, which is kind of cool. Ultimate Team's back, so you can't have a modern sports game if you don't have the Ultimate Team cards system. So, yeah, you're able to change the flair and the style of, well, your team as you gather cards and open packs and do all the different game modes in there. Tons of little sub stuff, compete, battle to be able to have the best squad through the cards that you acquired through various means. I'm not going to question how you guys get your cards, but you get your cards. That's Ultimate Team. So some refreshes, some tweaks there. It's very similar. The 6v6 arcade mode is quite highlighted. So that's larger roster players for multiplayer, which is kind of cool. There's Superstar. So Superstar is kind of a big thing where you are player-driven journey choices, and what you decide and everything like that impacts things as you build up like a superstar. There's online head-to-head has been revamped so that I don't know, it's like a slightly different setup for how everything is ranked and how the competition and everything goes. Pretty standard there, right? And then finally we have the lab for practice. So the lab is now kind of like your hub for practicing mini games, getting into the swing of playing the game if you need to practice more. And I mean, this game it's for everyone, right? So they've got 4 billion trainer assist modes. They've got all kinds of different difficulty options, different ways to adjust how you play and all that. All those sort of options and everything are present within this year's setup. But yeah, they're really pushing like the further adjustments of field sense, which is like the AI's ability to understand the field, and then the big boom tech, and you kind of get like I said, the more enhanced features. Ooh, when you're playing on the Series X and the S2, if you're checking out that one, but we'll have a separate Series S video. And that's kind of the idea here, is basically a very live, integrated experience that connects to the regular football season, allows you to, play those matches, create your fantasy setups, create your own player setup, and work your way through things, and then, kind of play in tandem to the experience that you're getting with college football, because that one got adjusted. Yeah, it's all a lot of stuff that makes a ton of sense to me, but this actually is legitimately a pretty big upgrade year for Madden. I was really feeling the last couple of years that things were getting a bit stagnant or very, very coasting, like, in terms of like changes and what's in the game. And that is a big thing though for these sports games. You get to a certain point where you're like, realistically, what more do they change? It's hard to say, but yeah, it does very much seem like this time around they are actually stepping up their game quite a bit in terms of improving the visuals, the physics, the gameplay, the immersion, everything like that. They've taken some good strides this year for actually adding quite a bit to the experience. So we're getting close to the half here. We're gonna switch it up so you can see some different weathering conditions. So yeah, for me, a big part of the experience is making sure that you're seeing the technology not just from the perspective of like a sunny day, but also showing off how the rain impacts the look of the game too. Just in terms of the athletes, the uniforms. I think the uniforms in general, they really do look fantastic in this one. Understand there were some strides there too in regards to capturing the latest style and aesthetic of the uniforms. That's a really weird angled shot. Usually they don't show off into the distance beyond the stadium. That's actually pretty cool. So I think for Madden NFL 25, not to be confused with Madden NFL 25 from if you haven't been playing Madden a super long time, there was also a Madden 25. I think it was Madden 14? 13 or something like that. They like decided to name, instead of calling it like Madden 14 or something like that, they called it Madden 25, which was like the dumbest thing in the world. But yeah, so this is technically the second Madden NFL 25. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but look it up. No, I'm not even kidding. If I had more time, I was actually planning on doing a video showing off the old Madden 25, just for a laugh, because I thought that would be kind of a funny showcase for people, but it was a little tighter on getting this all out the door this year, for sure, gameplay-wise. But I think they've done some nice revisions, they've touched things up nicely. It's a pretty comprehensive package that offers a lot for you to play and enjoy, and they did actually work on enhancing the experience, which I think is really, really necessary, especially after last year and previous years. So yeah, I really felt that it was necessary to also show off the snow, because I always love to present that, and the snow still needs a lot of work, honestly. It's gotten a little better, but the snow is still, just the way the characters and stuff interact with it, better, but still not really great. I mean, I think that's because you don't interact with the snow a lot, but yeah, the snow still needs work in these games. As I was saying, though, it's a comprehensive package. You get all the football you want. It's, it's the game you're used to each year, but I think they have actually done some improvements, at least for sure, on the technical side of things that make this a bit of a better game this year for sure.